Welcome everyone to a brilliant encounter from the Prague Masters 2026. You have Nodirbek Yakubboev on the board as his opponent David Navara makes his way into the venue, and David, being Czech number one for several years, is someone who is a big fan favorite here, and he has always been so kind to just about everyone he meets. In fact, whenever I meet David, he greets me with a namaste, and honest, wonderful person. I think a great ambassador for Czech chess for years. And now this tournament has been excellent for David. He has had win against Parham Maksudlu and 3 draws, including a draw against the world champion Gukesh. And there you can see the young kid inspired by that picture there. And David, you can see, even though his game is here, he is taking so many pictures and autographs with so many people, not disappointing anyone. And Yakubboev, well, he is an amazing player, and he played amazingly well at the FIDE World Cup, the winner of Prague Challengers 2025. And David comes in, and a handshake there. He gets up from his chair with as a mark of respect. And Yakubboev, well, he has a win against Anton Guyaro, 2 draws, and then a loss against Jordan Van Forest. So an important game for him here to come back into the tournament. And David has the white pieces. I'm pumped up for this encounter. Let's get rolling. The game is about to start. The players shake hands and off we go. David Navara opens the game with pawn to d4. And Yakubboev brings his knight out to f6. We have pawn to c4 played. e6 is on the board. And g3, the Catalan way of playing. Will Yakubboev play d5? Yes, he does. Right into the center. And David now plays his bishop to g2. The bishop comes out to e7. It's all standard stuff in the Catalan. Knight f3. Black can always decide to take on c4, but he decides to play the castle variation. He'll take on c4 later. Here the main line is d takes c4. It's also known as the open Catalan. But knight d7 played here by Yakubboev. And queen to c2. Goes pawn to a5, gaining more space on the queen side. So it's all preparation for Nodirbek. Bishop g5. Brings his bishop out. Generally, you give up this bishop for the knight. And a good question is, why does white do that? I think one of the main reasons is that there is more coordination between remaining pieces. Like you can put your knight on d2, you can play your pawn to e4, and at the same time it becomes difficult for black to unravel with the move c5 or e5 easily. And now David is thinking here. He brings his knight to c3. Slight surprise for sure, because generally you put your knight to d2 in such positions and then go e4, but he goes knight c3. c6 played by Yakubboev. He's now getting close to actually trying to take this pawn. Rook d1 played, putting the rook on a good square. e4 is coming up very soon. The bishop on c8 is a bit passive, but b6 played to bring the bishop out on this diagonal. Now knight e5 is a possibility here, but e4 played by David, and he gains space in the center. Yakubboev can take on e4 and land up in a slightly inferior position, but he goes for fighting chess. He plays pawn takes pawn. And David brings his knight to e5. He's attacking the pawn on c6 and also the pawn on c4. Yakubboev plays bishop b7, defending the pawn here on c6. And knight takes c4, getting back the pawn. So black has the bishop pair. White has a very strong center. And the next idea now is e5, knight e4, knight d6. So very quickly he gets rid of this knight on c4. A good move there by Nodirbek. Knight e3 played by David. He goes back. This knight is well positioned. d5 could be on the cards at the right time. e5 as well to be considered. Many possibilities. He brings his rook to c8. If black gets a successful b4 c5, because then he would be doing very well, because the bishops would then open up. Rook comes to c1. David is bringing all his pieces into the game. And now queen to b6, putting a bit of pressure on the d4 pawn. And e5 played here by Navara. He pushes his pawn to e5. The knight goes to d5. And knight to e4. This is now getting interesting, because with the knight here, looking at the f6 square, the pawn as well, it can get nasty. But Nodirbek gets tempted into going to b4, attacking a2 and also queen c2. Will David defend this with queen b1 is the question. This was not a good move. Knight takes knight, pawn takes, and c5 would have been a much better way to play. But okay, knight b4, he goes queen e2. He's ready to give up a pawn. This is too risky play by Yakubboev. He takes on a2. And now already in this position, knight to f6 is a massive move. Knight f6 check. And David is about to make his move. No, he first attacks the knight. Knight has to move. Knight to b4. And now, has black just snatched a free pawn? Or does David have something specific? He goes knight f6 check. If the king moves, there's already knight d7 fork at the very least. So he goes bishop takes. Okay, if pawn takes here, there's queen g4 check, queen bishop e4 here, king h8, queen h4 is winning position. So he takes with the bishop, pawn takes, and now the pawn has really come too close to the black king. So the queen goes back and says, okay, I'm taking here. The game has suddenly become super sharp. You take the pawn on g7 now. Yes, he does. F takes g7. King takes g7. And knight to g4. Very cool move. Looking at the h6 pawn. The king is weak. Queen e5 check coming in. Queen e3 somewhere. He goes rook a8. Okay, basically Yakubboev is being too greedy. He defends his a5 pawn. Maybe f5 was needed somehow here. Yes, it weakens e6 and white is better, but rook a8 is just too dangerous. Check. Pawn to f6. And now queen takes e6, takes the pawn. Pawn up. The bishop drops back to c8, attacking the queen and the knight. And he comes back queen e2. The queen comes forward with queen to d6. And now knight e3. The knight drops back. You can already see that the king is weak. The queen can enter in. The knight can come here. This is very dangerous position. Bishop goes to d7. and it's time to push forward with the move d5. It's very logical. The main difference in this position, why white is better, is the safety of the kings. Black king is absolutely exposed, white's king is safe. d5, an amazing move. And Yakubboev goes pawn to c, he's going for the c pawn. He's waiting. He goes pawn to c5. And he keeps the position closed, but now David Navara goes boom, queen takes b5 and knight c2. Now you see, if you take the queen, knight f5 was possible with a fork. So knight c2 instantly played, attacking the rook. If you play rook c1, knight takes knight, and then the queen is hanging. But queen c6, what a move by David Navara. This is the move of the game. Amazing move. Bishop takes is met with knight f5. Incredible chess. Queen e7, and now queen to c7, giving up the rook in the corner. Because if takes here, there is knight f5 check, and the bishop can't take because of the pin. So he must take the knight. Knight e3. And now instead of fe3, which is maybe after queen e3, black is okay, d6 played. The pawn moves forward. Now the queen needs to defend the bishop. So goes queen e6. And rook e1 is an excellent move. Look at David's time. He has only 3 minutes 52 seconds. And he still has to make 6 moves to reach time control. Rook e1 with the idea to take the knight. Rook a6. Attacking the pawn on d6. Now rook a d1. He brings his rook into the center of the board, defending the d6 pawn. If you take on d1, just the queen is hanging. So queen g4, keeping control of the bishop, but also coming out of the pin, threatening the rook on d1. h3 played. And now queen to a4, attacking the pawn, attacking the rook on d1, but also defending, but b3. The queen is getting pushed away everywhere. Queen b5 is met with rook e3. So he goes queen takes b3, but now d7 is hanging. He takes it with a check, but rook f7. And then the queen is attacked, and then the rook is attacked. Rook f7. So what do? David, 3 minutes on the clock. Boom, queen sacrifice. Amazing. King takes. You have rook e3 attacking the queen and d7, d8. Is it? I don't know. Let's see. King takes f7. And now, yeah, exactly. If rook e3, this queen d1. No, you can't play rook e3. But you can't even move the rook. d7 is the only move. Finds it. Oh, he's making a queen. If knight d1, there's another queen waiting to be made. So he takes on g2. Now just queen is great. And David Navara has reached 40th move. So he takes his time now. He can make a queen here. But there's also one more move that wins. A flashier move, which is rook e7 check. And he finds it. Rook e7 check. What a move after 5 minutes of thought. If king e7, there's queen with a check. He takes it. And he's given up almost everything. But now gets it back with interest. Check. Queen. King f7. And David now has to move in with the rook. Rook d7 check. If king e6, I mean, at the very least I can see like queen g8 and you can win the queen as well, but king g6. But there's a mate, I'm pretty sure, king e8, king f5 and queen h5. But he goes king g6, queen e8, king g5 now. Or king f5, there's queen h5. We reach the same position. He goes king g5, queen e4. I mean, what a move. Just cutting the king off, threatening all sorts of threats, one of them being rook g7 with a mate. f5 played. Nodirbek is going to bring his rook finally into the defense, but it's too late. Rook g7. If king here, I guess there's a very beautiful mate, right? With queen h4, knight h4, g4 and a checkmate. That's also a nice queen sack. He goes rook g6, h4 check. If king h5 now, queen takes f5 does the trick. So king f6 and it's mate in one now. Queen e7, checkmate to the king. David Navara gets up and Nodirbek Yakubboev, I think, is smiling there because he has been a victim of a David Navara brilliancy. What a game by David Navara, and yeah, excellent chess played by him. Yakubboev tried his best, but it was not to be. And yeah, we'll leave you with some of the scenes from the venue as the players exit, and kudos to David for an amazing game. He is capable of playing brilliant chess even now.
Спасибо, но не повезло. Я понимал, что ты боролся за победу и там принял какой-то риск. Даже если там какой-то...
Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Děkuji, já jenom budu potřebovat děkuji. Já si jenom odložím taky a čas. No, vím, že je to nehygienické, ale potřebuji se to vybavit teď.
Moc krát děkuji.
Úžasná partie.
Děkuji, tak jako měl jsem štěstí, že to tam vycházelo všechno.
A ještě krásně časově to vycházelo, ta půl hodina, že tam mám.
No, ale tak si já dokázal zahrát, tak tam byly